You're listening to The Lead on News 24 with your host, broadcast journalist Graeme Robenheimer.
Welcome to the Newsweek Lead, listeners. Well, it's meant to revolutionise the processing time that it takes to crack critical criminal cases in Gauteng. But no, Mr. Panyaza Lesufi, claiming that the long-delayed forensic pathology lab in Johannesburg is a win for your administration thus far feels rather hollow, given that it was meant to open 7 years ago. Just ask our Metro journalist Alex Patrick, who's been following this critical building's progress since day one.
In the last 7 years, how many people have had failures in justice because of this? How many people have not had their samples for their DNA kits processed? How many people's rapists and murderers have gone free because this has not been done? There's always a face to all of these things, and it's not just a building that's standing there, it's people's justice.
Of course, look out for our trending topic a little later. Minister Mantashe reveals government is now searching to secure more fuel amidst the current global oil price surge. And finally, one of the very first known Christian missionaries to Southern Africa saw his demise with On This Day in South African history.
New episodes of The Lead air Monday through Thursday at 7 p.m.
In our Pointers Braai quiz for today, which movie has gone on to clean sweep the Oscars this year? I'll give you the answer a little later. My name's Graeme Robenheimer. This is The Lead, and this is the South African story. Moving to our top story today, when she's not witnessing public office bearers being held against their will on law enforcement raids, she's checking each line of the City of Johannesburg's budget and council meeting minutes, while she's the rather intrepid Metro journalist Alex Patrick, and she's somewhat of a permanent fixture on The Lead. Welcome back to it, Alex. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm well. How are you doing?
Can I just ask you about that time when you were out on that raid and here's the MMC being held against their will? How crazy was that?
You know, it takes kind of looking back on it to realize how actually dangerous that was. In the moment, it's fine, but afterwards, you know, you kind of realize that if a bullet had gone flying, there would have been several of those. And yeah, my soft body was no match for any of those bullets. So yeah, I think looking back, I didn't realize how we were actually in quite a lot of danger. But yeah, it's part of the job. It's what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, of course, the 1 week ago, the MMC was pretty much held against their will by gunpoint. You can go look out for that coverage on News 24. I just wanted to check in with you and just to see how you were doing.
Thank you.
Such a hectic story. Okay, so did you know this, Alex, is that in actual fact, we spoke last about this topic on the 10th of July, 2025, and we ran in The Lead on News 24. Why is Gauteng's 700 million rand forensic super lab still closed? And that's the question we pointed at the time. And guess what, Lead listeners? Well, look, we're going to get into the details, but nothing's really changed, right?
No, nothing has changed. It's actually funny that you say it was almost a year ago, because it feels like it's become part of my life.
It really does feel like. But, I mean, you've stuck onto the story, and for that, we pretty much applaud you. Okay, so we spoke like 8 months ago. At the time, it looked as if Gauteng's new 703 million rand forensic medical services super lab, and this is located in the Auckland Park suburb near the Helen Joseph Hospital. But today it still remains a ghost town. But let's peg everything on what Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi said in his recent State of the Province address. What did he allude to in regards to this facility? What did he promise the voters of Gauteng?
As he was busy congratulating himself, he said officially we're opening in the next few months, which is very clever of him, because what exactly is the next few months? Is that the next 2 months? Is that next year? Will he still be premier? We don't know.
And he touted it pretty much as a win, right? Something that his administration managed to get across the line.
Exactly. And specifically because it deals with, or it is set to deal with that backlog in forensics. So this is the only way we can really get through that backlog.
Right. Now, the last time we spoke, the main contractors here that were part and parcel of ensuring that this like state-of-the-art super lab probably going to be the best on the African continent, right? What were these main contractors concerned about prior? Because they revealed to you that money has always been the issue, the outstanding payments of which, and we're talking about millions here, right?
Yeah. At the time, last time we spoke, they were owed 100 million. And this is a facility that at the time was costing 703 million to construct. It's obviously costing a little bit more than that now with some inflation, but they are still actually owed money. They have since been paid 30 million.
Not quite a big dent in the months that have passed.
No.
Okay. And then, so the devil, as we know, is oftentimes in the detail. And there was this provincial adjusted budget report that you managed to get your eyes on, Alex. And in that, we, of course, know about this passing of the buck between these two departments, specifically the Infrastructure Development Department, helmed by MEC Jacob Mamabolo, as well as the Health Department. And with these two departments, it's seemingly like the responsibility gets tossed back and forth. Who really needs to answer to ensure that this facility finally opens and can start assisting with the backlog in ensuring that unnatural deaths are properly processed in Gauteng. What did that budget report sort of reveal to you about the completion rate for the facility? This, I thought, is very amusing.
Very interesting. Yes, as you'll recall, for the last 2 years, the completion rate has been sitting at 98%. Now, I'm not entirely sure how they calculate that, but at the provincial adjusted budget, it now sits at 94% complete. What we do know is that they're no longer health and safety compliant. So that could be why there's an adjustment down. But it is now, in fact, less complete than it was 2 years ago. And yeah, I don't know. And when asked exactly how much it would cost, we were told that we would find out in the middle of March. Now, according to me, today, I mean, if you want to be pedantic about it, I think today could be the middle of March, but who knows?
Right. Okay. So, yeah, that doesn't seem all that promising. Okay. Over and above that, what did the DA's Jack Bloom? Of course, he's been somewhat of an opposition party, thorn in the side of the ANC-led administration for the longest time when it comes to health matters. What did he reveal to you about him sitting on the meetings, dealing with this adjusted budget record that you managed to get your eyes on?
Yeah, I mean, he basically just told me in his Q&A. I mean, he was asking when is it going to be opened, and we did get an answer for that. So this is the 8th deadline that's been set for the opening, which is meant to be at the end of next month. Now, I'm a glass half full kind of gal, but I also don't hold my breath on that, because if we've been 98% complete for the last 2 years, I don't know how we're going to become, what is that now, 94, so 6% complete in the next month. But that's just me again.
Right. And like any great journalist would do, you go straight to the Gauteng Department of Infrastructure Development, which the Health Department has often prodded you in the direction of going to. You ask them for give me some detail. Like, can you give us a proper final timeline here? It's been 10 years. There's the 8th deadline set. The figure for this facility, as you say, just keeps on growing and growing, all to the taxpayers' expense. And, the taxpayers aren't deriding the value out of this facility as they should. And this I found very fascinating. What did this particular provincial department, how did they respond to you in your media inquiry?
Well, as they have been for the last 3 times, the health department says speak to DID, infrastructure development, even though they're paying for it and the issue is payment. And DID just ignores me. I think what the most fascinating thing for me was that they would have received those answers the day before, and I had given them more than 24 hours to respond, which, according to the press ombudsman, is enough time. So instead of responding to us, they just ignored us. But then they responded to our queries on their social media, their Instagram page, which was just bizarre to me, but even more so is that the information there was completely different from the information that they gave at the adjusted budget. And one would think that the budget information would need to be the most solid information. So there they said that on their Instagram page, they said that they had gone for an inspection. Now, I know the last time they went for an inspection was the end of last year. So I don't know, because they don't say on their social media when they last went for an inspection. So they make it sound like recently. And they say that that it's 97% complete and that there's a few issues with budget. So there's a discrepancy there, and it's very, I mean, for a big kind of maybe 400-word essay, very little was said.
Sure. I can't believe they didn't actually give you this like normal, formal right of reply. It's very, very strange.
Exactly. Very strange.
Let's just remind everybody listening up until this point, that might be sort of, nonchalant about why we should care about this particular massive sort of infrastructure development project. I mean, this is a game changer for the processing of unnatural deaths, right?
Absolutely. And it's not just the fact that it's a forensic mortuary, which it is. I mean, it's going to replace what is currently the busiest mortuary in the country. They don't just process unnatural deaths, but they also do reconstructions. They help to relocate families, etc. But I think the most important thing about this facility is the forensic backlog. So that's basically anything to do with forensic testing that needs to be done for cases. These are your kind of homicide and rape kits that get performed. And the issue with that backlog is it can take more than 10 years, and those samples do not last that long. So a lot of very important, I mean, obviously to the victims, but a lot of our cases don't get solved because the forensics get taken and then stored in a fridge somewhere, and it just ends up in a backlog. So, I've done a few cases myself where we've been waiting years to hear what happened, and then by that time, defense can say, yeah, but is the test still viable because it's been sitting in your fridge for 4 years, and that's a relevant question.
Sure. And that's how it feels, sort of like on the practical level of things. The main contractors, as we spoke to prior, Mazia General Services, are they digging their heels at this stage? What can you reveal today that might be, any different from the last time we spoke, other than the fact that they've only gotten 30 million more of what they needed in terms of the outstanding funds owed to them by the government?
Look, I mean, as far as we know, and we have been speaking to people kind of off record, they can do it in a month. There is the facility is basically it's ready. It's ready for people to move into. It can be open in a month. They just need to redo their health and safety. There's one or two issues with installing fire doors, etc. That stuff is going to take a couple of days. If there's a will, it will happen. So we just need to hope that that really it will be finished in the next month.
Are you tired of talking about it? I know you've been on the story. It's like since day one, and you do periodic checkups and you publish your analysis and your follow-ups quite regularly on the front page of News 24. Why is it so important that you stay on top of this project, Alex?
It's just about accountability at the end of the day. I don't get tired of doing this story because I know that there are faces behind this story. I know the people who work at the forensic lab, and I know the circumstances that they work under, and that they're very hardworking people. But it's just about that lack of accountability. It's been 10 years. The budget has ballooned. It's now going to cost 754 million, relatively a small amount in the bigger scheme of things. But it's really just about accountability. You said you were going to do something. The facility is there. We've spent the money. Just open the doors.
Yeah, absolutely. So my final question then would be this. If the Gauteng Premier Panyaza Lesufi claims in his State of the Province address that this is a win for his administration, is it really a win when the value of which has skyrocketed so much and it's taken 10 years off the ground? Final thoughts?
I don't think it is a win. If you think about in the last 10 years, let's say 7 years, because it was going to take 3 years to complete. In the last 7 years, how many people have had failures in justice because of this? How many people have not had their samples for their DNA kits processed? How many people's rapists and murderers have gone free because this has not been done? There's always a face to all of these things, and it's not just a building that's standing there. It's people's justice, and it's taken too long.
I really appreciate that. That's Alex Patrick, our Metro News 24 journalist, always on the beat, always ensuring that those minutiae, those details in Johannesburg council meetings, or whether or not it's adjusted budget reports for the provincial government, Alex will see them, and she will get to see the details, and she'll report back to you, the News 24 subscriber, at the end of the day. Alex, I really appreciate it. Chat soon.
Thank you.
You're listening to the latest edition of The Lead on News 24 with Graeme Rowenheimer. If you've got an opinion on what you've heard so far, drop us a short voice note on our WhatsApp hotline. That's 072 562 3179. Trending topic.
To our trending topic, and with all of us bracing for astronomical increases in the fuel prices this coming April, well, that's a possible 4 Rand per litre increase in petrol and a mind-numbing 7 Rand per litre, 7 Rand people, for diesel. Mineral Resources Minister Gwede Mantashe has now revealed that government is scrambling to find alternative sources of global oil to stave off having to tuck into the state's stash of oil barrels. Well, that's some 8 million barrels to be exact, currently kept in our emergency fuel fund, which not many countries, by the way, have the luxury of to begin with. And this is something that we were reminded of in our edition of The Lead 1 week ago with writer-at-large Lisa Steyn in that episode entitled Should South Africa Shore Up Its Fuel Reserves? As we know, rising geopolitical tensions in Southwest Asia have set off the global oil price. Brent crude was trading at some $105 a barrel as the week got underway. South Africa, as we know it, is overly reliant on oil imports, especially so after at least 3 fuel refineries shut their doors in more recent years. While speaking at the Southern African Oil and Gas Conference, Mantashe hinted that ensuring domestic supply is the ultimate name of the game now, with excitement building since 2022 over a deep water oil discovery in the Orange Basin that's offshore of Namibia and South Africa. But now various legislative means to take full advantage of such discoveries, according to government, are now at an advanced stage. So I suppose we'll just have to keep watching the space. Got anything on your mind? Drop us a comment below.
And finally,
ending off now with On This Day in South African history. That's the 16th of March, 1561. On this very day in 1561, Portuguese Jesuit missionary Goncalo de Silveira was killed in the court of the Monomotapa Kingdom in southern Africa. De Silveira had arrived in the region a year before, traveling from then Mozambique and baptizing hundreds of people, including local chiefs. He later journeyed up the Zambezi to the Monomotapa capital, where he continued his missionary work and converted the ruler there and several of his subjects to Christianity. Tensions, however, soon grew. Arab traders were apparently operating in the region as well, and they reportedly spread rumors about this priest, turning the local leadership against him. On 16th of March 1561, De Silveira was strangled in his hut on the orders of the chief, bringing one of the earliest Catholic missionary efforts in this region to a sudden, abrupt end. In Roby's Pointless Braai quiz today, well, our question is, which movie has gone on to clean sweep the Oscars this year? One battle after another. Led the way, clinched some 6 wins, although Leo DiCap didn't get it for Best Actor. That goes to Michael B. Jordan for the flick Sinners. And fun fact, I've not seen any of these movies. I'm just struggling to find the time, really. And that's thanks to a hectic newsmill, I suppose. Well, if this was your answer all along, congratulations. You score the priceless prize of being the most informed person around the Braai place. 5 million jobs in 10 years. Well, that's the overriding theme at our News 24 On The Record 2026 Summit, which is set down for the 19th and 20th of March. That's Thursday and Friday this week, if you've lost count, at the Cape Town International Convention Centre. That's 2 days of action-packed talks with a wide array of very interesting guests. It's not one to be missed. Of course, the lead will bring you all the highlights from both of those days with expert commentary by Carol Payton, specialist journalist, writer at large, as well as our News 24 investigations editor, Peter de Toy. That's News 24 on the Record Summit 2026. How can we ensure 5 million jobs in 10 years? If you enjoyed the episode, hit like, follow, and subscribe. And my name's Graeme Robelheimer. So long as there's trusted news first, we'll have the lead.